Welcome back to another episode of Cape Ann Today with our favorite Gloucester Times reporters, Stephen Hagan and Ethan Foreman. Hi, you guys.
Hi, Heather. How you doing?
And let's not forget about Gail.
Oh, Gail's
who
another
is,
favorite. I did my
Yeah,
accent.
awesome.
Yeah, Gail McCarthy. No, she is the favorite. So you guys are second. All right. So Stephen, what do you
yes, ma'am.
have for us this week?
I have about 3 or 4 stories in Manchester, Essex, at the regional high school, Manchester Essex Regional High School. They were recently honored by the college board for their AP offerings. What that essentially means is they were honored for having at least 40% of the graduating class taking at least one AP class. At least 25 of the graduating class scoring 3 or higher on at least one AP exam during high school. And at least 2% of the graduating class took 5 or more AP exams during high school. The high school also completed 355 AP exams in 2023 with, I won't go into details, but really good school. So they're doing pretty well over there at Manchester Essex Regional High School. Over the weekend, there was a really bad accident in Gloucester at Grant Circle. Man crashed his, what kind of car was it? It was a Silverado, Chevy Silverado at Grant Circle, and he was med flighted out of Gloucester to Mass General Hospital in Boston. The chopper, as is routine, landed at O'Malley Innovation Middle School and took off from there. He was conscious and alert, but he has serious injuries. Didn't find out what those injuries were, but anyway, he'll be summoned to court at a later date to face charges for negligent operation of a motor vehicle. In Manchester, there is a new, there's a man who has been named head of the Regional Boy Scouts Council. He lives in Manchester. His name is John Judge. We've got a really tiny photograph headshot of him. I don't know if you can see that. That's Mr. Judge right there. Mr. Judge is, this sounds kind of routine, but he's an everything guy. He does everything. Let's see, good Lord. He's been a scout since he was a kid. He was a scout when he was a kid. He became an Eagle Scout. He's part of the life member of the National Eagle Scout Association. Held several leadership posts in the area, including he was the chief executive of the Appalachian Mountain Club. He was had leadership positions at Goodwill Industries, Habitat Humanity, Greater Boston, the trustees of reservations. His thing is he wants to optimize the STEM offerings that the Scouts might engage in. That's a big part of schools these days, and he really wants to emphasize that, especially with the biotechs in the area and the one that's planned for Manchester. It is called cell signaling technology. Thank you very much. Can't believe I forgot it. Yeah. He lives in Manchester with his wife and his daughter is a Cub Scout.
Nice.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Finally, there is money for Rockport. This is part of the nationwide settlement reached by the Attorney Generals of Massachusetts and 13 other states to obtain the money from the opioid settlement. So Rockport has been awarded $10,000, and what that will be used for, according to Barbara McCarthy, who's the Board of Health Chair, and Vice Chair Ruth George, they will use it for overdose prevention, harm reduction, and addiction treatment recovery programs. And the word is, the aim is rather to get the word out about opioid bad stuff.
Thank you.
As my daughter Emma will tell you, her father is adamant about not. I'm always constantly on her, trying to remind her, don't do drugs, don't do drugs. She doesn't do drugs. She doesn't do drugs. She doesn't like it. What she tells me, and I believe her, but still,
Emma's a
um,
singer, right?
what's that?
She's a singer. So she doesn't want to.
Emma's a singer. That's right. She sings a lot. I'll just leave it at that. She's in 3 different groups.
Wonderful. Okay, so Ethan, you've been busy also. What do you have for us? Oh, I can't hear you. We need
Oh, the mute button.
sound.
Yes. Well, I wanted to start off with something that got really it was a noisy bit of news last week. Kind of a tempest in a teapot, or a really loud tempest in a teapot, when it comes to leaf blowers. So the Ward 1 Councilor Scott Memard, hearing it from residents who didn't like working at home and hearing the noise, decided to bring a council order to ordinances and administration to Steve, hey, listen, I know you're picking up the phone. Can you mute over there?
Jason, I'm on a podcast right now. Let me call you back. What's your number?
See, the news doesn't stop.
Is that Jason?
Yeah, so anyway, so Scott Memard has decided to put in a council order to
Yep.
do a leaf blower ban for gas-powered leaf blowers. And
Jason,
people are working at home, they're on Zoom, and so
766.
it's kind of hard for them to work and then to have a
I'll call you back in about 10 minutes. Thanks.
I'm sorry.
Steven, put yourself on mute.
Put yourself on, Steve, put yourself on mute. See,
Sometimes
the newsroom is very busy, so it's very hard for us to
I know.
be here. So I appreciate it. So
My apologies.
no worries.
Yeah.
So what happened was there was a outpouring in the Kairos auditorium, but it wasn't for people who wanted a leaf blower ban. It was dozens of landscapers who make their living using these devices. They want to say they're efficient. You really can't go back to the rake and they're saying that the electric leaf blowers really aren't there yet. Their batteries only last about 2.5 months, and they're very like $2,000. They're very expensive. One of the landscapers said to me that, well, the leaf blowers, electric leaf blowers and the gas blowers have kind of the same noise level, about 20 decibels apart. Well, 20 decibels is actually a lot.
Right.
But from 59 to 79, but I don't want to get into how loud they are. We just had our over here on Whittemore Street, we just had our leaf blowing crew in. We could barely hear ourselves. It's stinky.
Yeah.
So maybe what happens is, over the next few years, technology catches up. We're able to have the electric leaf blowers. Right now, gas blowers are probably much more efficient. And I think there might be a neighboring town might be looking at it. I'm not going to say which one. I'm not going to say which town that maybe Heather is existing in, but there is maybe it might be a move there, and Cambridge is also looking at this as well. Now, if on the North Shore, Marblehead and Swampscott have seasonal bans. So yeah, so it was like a tempest in a teapot, because ordinances administration didn't even take up didn't get a second. This is very rare. It's like, they make the motion. Now, Councilor Memard isn't on the ordinances administration standing committee. He's a member of the budget and finance. So I think maybe over the next few years, maybe it's time to do some outreach, see how residents really feel about the leaf blowers. Again, people are working at home, they're on Zoom, and it's kind of hard to work, especially in the summer. So maybe a seasonal thing might be the way to go.
Well,
maybe we should let the leaves lie around for a little bit.
Yeah.
Right.
So to make a very long story or a very loud story short, this order went nowhere.
And it went nowhere.
Landscapers prevailed.
Yeah, and the landscapers even came by the city council on Tuesday with an electric battery pack, saying this thing weighs the whole thing weighs 48 pounds. It's really heavy. it's, not ready for prime time. So we'll see.
Well, let's hope, as you said, the technology advances because of all this conversation, right?
Yeah, I hope so.
Okay, so then there is a really, really exciting thing happening in the city of Gloucester right now at the Cape Ann Museum.
Oh yeah. So if you checked out our Wednesday edition, you would have seen a story by Gail McCarthy
Great
called
story.
about Above the Fold. And this is actually an exhibit about more than 30 years of photographs from the Gloucester Daily Times. Everyone loves the Gloucester Daily Times.
That's Gloucester Times.
Well, I when I mess up, I hear about it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, so it's 30 is 12, I believe, about 12 photographers, contemporary photographers. And it's a kind of a follow-on exhibit to the one that was held in 2009 on Gloucester Daily Times photographer Charlie Lowe, who actually passed away at age 49, and he was here for about a quarter century. So this is a kind of a follow-on exhibit, but featuring contemporary photographers who and it kind of coincides. It's 32 years, starting around 1973, which is the city's 350th anniversary. So kind of looking at what life was like back then. So in Gloucester's 400th anniversary year, it's kind of like taking a look back. And some of the images are really stunning. I don't know if you've seen the paper. It's worth picking up, of the person on the schooner. I don't know how they got that shot.
No
But
drones then, right?
yeah, there were no drones back then. So I haven't seen the exhibit yet. But I think it's a way. It shines shines a lens on Cape Ann. And if you read the story, they talk. There's some photographers went off to Globe, and but the idea is that you don't really the magic of the paper is local. I like community news. You get to know people, you run into them, and you don't really get that at the bigger papers. So I'd say check out Above the Folds. It's opening December 2nd at the Cape Ann Museum. And
Ethan, I was
it's gonna, yeah.
I was doing some work in the archives about a month ago, and Trenton Carls was, and there was images everywhere. There were papers everywhere. He was just neck high in this project. I think he's put a lot into it.
Well,
And
this literally has consumed him since he started, and they also had to hire another a photo archivist because of this. But it's I think hats off to the Cape Ann Museum for preserving these photos, because a lot of papers just dump their what they're called morgues.
yeah,
They just dump them. They just go away, and they just go in the dumpster, and they're lost. And because it's tangible media, that's it. So they're preserving the history of Cape Ann. I also know the Story Free Library has been digitizing Gloucester editions of the Gloucester, decades and decades of Gloucester Daily Times, but this really does preserve this for the future. I don't know, maybe in the future we'll have to hand over our iPhones, because obviously we're taking a lot of photos on our phones. There's no negatives or anything. The great thing about the exhibit is they're going to teach you about how photographs were actually made. They were put in the fixative, developed, and all that stuff. So they're going to show you that as well. And one more thing is Paul Bilodeau, a couple of contemporary people I've worked with, Amy Sweeney, who I worked with as a photo editor at the Salem News and the Eagle Tribune, is part of the exhibit and worked on the exhibit. And Paul Bilodeau, our staff photographer, should be commended. He was a young photographer when he started here at the Gloucester Daily Times, and is part of the exhibit. So it's great. It just spans a great gamut, contemporary photographers, and we get to celebrate local news. And I'm not going to say subscribe, but hey, subscribe. If you're watching it.
yeah. Well, no. What my last comment from Trenton was he expressed to me that the museum sort of felt as if this exhibit was a gift back to the community after the Hopper Show. The Hopper Show, people were traveling from all around to view that exhibit, and Gloucester was very busy, but they felt as if this show was really, this is for you, Gloucester, after all that big Hopper fuss. So I thought that was a nice way to say it.
Yeah, the community gets to see itself reflected in the photographs.
Right, exactly. All right, so there has been some funding designated to the city of Gloucester to manage this TOD. Am I right?
Well, the city is in the process of coming up with a new update on its master plan. It's about 22 years old. And so the mayor's come up with this idea of doing something called the comprehensive plan. And I do this introduction because even though it's two separate things, zoning for the MBTA communities, Gloucester's an MBTA communities, and it has to zone for multifamily homes as part of a relatively new state law. But the mayor decided, because there was a lot of questions about zoning, they would do a comprehensive plan. And I you probably can't do the QR code. I don't know if that's going to work, but they want to get people involved. They want to get as much feedback as possible. So instead of holding meetings and, everywhere, they're inviting people to hold meetings locally in their neighborhoods, like in Lanesville. The Lanesville Community Center has already done climate action meeting called Meeting in a Box. So the ability to facilitate a meeting is online on the city website. And so if you're interested in any kind of input, if you live in Gloucester, maybe you don't live in Gloucester, there's a community survey you can take and you can give your input. And the reason I'm bringing this all out is then we talk about a grant to the city. City needs technical help for this zoning effort. So the city has, by the end of 2024, they need to come in compliance with this law. It's the creation of a zone that has a minimum unit capacity of multifamily units of 2,270 units. It's based on the percentage of the city's existing housing stock. So people kind of look at it and they go, oh my God, where are they going to fit 2,270 units? No, it's zoning. So there's already multifamily units, in and around the train stations. And there's already, there's a lot of multifamily. So it might be, you might look at what's existing and say, okay, you can do a multifamily home by right. We already have multifamily. Mm-hmm. So it may not be as tall an order. I think there's just a lot of worry because downtown is congested. People are bringing up the question of whether they could create this zone around the West Gloucester station. And so let's hire a consultant. Let the city hire a consultant to help it do that kind of planning work. The planning staff are doing their day-to-day jobs. There's things come before the planning board, conservation commission. You need an extra pair of eyes. So I think it's a good thing. $75,000 from the state. Now it's interesting. A $75,000 grant from a funding source that if they don't come into compliance, they would not be able to get. Right. So they got a $75,000 grant to help them plan for zoning. I forget the name of the program. Mm-hmm. I was like a one-stop grant, but if the city is out of compliance with 3A, section 3A, that law, mm-hmm. There's about 13 grant programs that they would be ineligible for. You would check the box. Are you in compliance? Are you applying for a grant? Right. And this technical help would be something they could not apply for. So I don't know. I don't want to give an opinion. The mayor said he's no super fan of this law, but I think the feeling is he needs to comply with it. There's been pushback on the law. Mixed use now is included. So if you have a mixed use building, think what downtown Harbor Village, that new affordable, that's multifamily. There's a lot of units in there. So you say that has its ground floor storefront. So buildings like that could comply. So I think people need to hold their breath. Now, there's been some concern from some counselors, like that this kind of planning should happen months ago.
Mhm.
Because a year, when is the comprehensive plan gonna come? Is the work on the TOD gonna dovetail with it? Because again, now you have a master plan that's gonna kind of try to come together to plan the city for the next decade, but now you're trying to plan for a large zone. So there's a lot of unknowns. So I guess they say stay tuned, but it can't be a bad thing for the city to get $75,000 to hire a consultant to try to come up with some of the answers that people have been looking for. So if you are looking for some more feedback or want to give your feedback on this, and you live in Gloucester, or maybe not, who knows? The Budget and Finance Committee of the City Council is meeting on Thursday, December 7th. They meet at 5:30 in the Harbor Masters Conference Room. I don't know. The leaf blower meeting was supposed to be held there, but then they thought there'd be a big outpouring and they moved it.
Yeah.
So hopefully I don't cause the city, an extra cost for a custodian to go open up the Kairos, but you can watch the meeting on Zoom, and Budget and Finance is going to take this up among their, requests for funding. It's basically to accept the grant. So, we'll see, but I mean, I can't be that $75,000 from the
Yeah.
state. Can't be, it's not like they taxpayer funded. It's just, state taxpayer, but
Right.
so there
And
you go.
to help navigate this. So, but Ethan, getting back to the comprehensive planning initiative, where can people find that QR code that you just showed us if they want to get involved?
You can go to this. You can go to the city website. I'm going to give you the web address, but it's you go tinyurl.com
Okay.
/GCP2034. So it's tinyurl.com
Yeah.
GCP 2034. I can see if I can get that. There you go.
Why is it 34?
Because it's the 2034 plan. It's a 10-year. They're gonna finish it in next year, and it's gonna be for our for 10 years.
Okay,
So the
great.
city, I think, really is looking for input. There's a community survey online. Probably doesn't take more than 10 minutes. They're looking to get 3,000 different voices, about 10% of the community, to kind of weigh in on what the city wants to be. And it's everything. It's comprehensive, right? It's
Right.
the harbor, the open space. So I'm just putting that plug in.
Okay, great. All right, so let's before we run out of time, the AMVets have a new home.
Yeah, they sold their post. It was upkeep on their post on Prospect Street proved to be a lot. The building was, I guess, a church building, synagogue. It was an old synagogue. It was the old Temple Hahim was there for a while in the 50s. The AMVets post 32 moved in, but the upkeep on the building proved a lot. They had a hall on the upper floor, but you had COVID, they shut down. A lot of their regular members went away. So they sold the building and in May, and were able to open up in the Blackburn Tavern building that's on a corner of Main and Washington Streets. And I went in. It's great. It's a big hall, a beautiful bar, and I think they're thrilled to have a new permanent home. And membership there, social memberships are not that expensive. The money goes to helping others. They use that money purely for helping others. It seems like it's a great place. They also do the Fish Box Derby. There's one of the sponsors of the Fish Box Derby. So the AMVets post. So check it out. They're right there, 1B Washington Street, conveniently right across sort of diagonally across the street from the Legion post. So it's great. The veterans have a kind of a little bit of a cluster there, so it's great. We have great veterans community.
Ethan, do you have to be a veteran to gain membership?
No, you can I think social memberships are like $50 a year.
Oh,
If
that's
you're a veteran, it's like $30 a year, and then they waive it I think they waive it for the first year. First responders, firefighters, join as a social member. I think you join as a social member, you help the post. Maybe people should be joining the Legion and the Post, Sons of the American Legion, if you didn't serve. And that just helps. You provide that funding, and mostly goes for scholarships and helping the community.
And you're right. I really like that idea that corner. What did
Yeah.
Joni on the pony. The
Joni on the, oh yeah, that, what a great, yeah. There's so many different little nooks and crannies. I don't want to say that. No, it's beautiful. I love that. I love going by there every time I do. It's just, yeah, I love it.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much, you guys. And anyone want to say what they're working on next?
I will say, as my colleague alluded to, there is an effort to produce potentially another leaf blower ban in one of our Cape Ann communities. Won't say which one.
I really look forward to that story. All right. And Ethan, how about you?
I'm working on a story in the next couple of days about a firefighter, Linda Henry, retired at age 65, was the first Gloucester firefighter to go through the fire academy in Stowe.
Oh,
Was 41 years old and 5'1", and almost wanted to quit and persevered. And she's been a fixture in the fire department, and wonderful person. Sat down with her today. So that story will be coming up in the next few days.
great, great. All right, you guys, my dog needs to go out, so I'm going to say goodbye. All right, take care. See you next week.
Bye, Heather.
Bye.
Interested in a sponsorship? Email sponsor@1623studios.org to learn more.